Hello, and welcome to the Mental Health Gaming Podcast. Once again, I am Bradley, and joining me this week is someone who literally had the shock of his life on the bus the other day when he heard someone use the word literally correctly in a conversation. Are you over that yet, Stu?
No, and I don't think I ever will be because nobody ever does it properly anymore. I'm just trying to let it go, you know. I'm just trying to not be bothered by it, which is the tougher road, but it's the more serene and zen road. So let's go for that one.
Yeah, you say you literally, you literally have to do something about it, or just let it go. Literally. I mean, shock of your life.
Oh, totally.
Literally the shock of your life.
Literally, yeah.
Literally,
yeah.
Do you know what else is quite literal?
Video games.
Video games, of course they are. So, as usual, what have you been playing?
Mixed bag this week. Very much a mixed bag. But starting off with Clone Hero, which I'm not sure if you've heard of.
No.
So, Clone Hero is a community project to a gaming community project, not like people who plants by the roadside type community project, where you can connect your controllers, your like Guitar Hero and Rock Band controllers, to your PC and play a version of basically those games using those peripherals. And it's it's just so that you can play anything. Yeah, any PC can basically just play these great games. You don't have to dig out your old hardware other than the peripherals, and it's kind of a fan-made thing, so it's nothing official. But there's a lot of community tracks, so there's a load of conversions of the ones from the actual games, so all the ones that came out with the games.
Yeah.
But also a load of just normal songs that people have tabulated in the Guitar Hero / Rock Band format, and it works flawlessly. Doesn't even install. It's not. It's just a piece of portable software, and you just find the songs on the internet, stick them in the songs folder, connect your peripheral, and basically, as long as it's the right one, away you go. And I've messed with it before. I'm doing this thing, like I say, this project of going back and using all my old peripherals and stuff, because some of them will have to go.
Yeah.
But the guitar's not going because I love it too much. But so I thought, I'll get that started again and have a go. And so it's really good fun. It doesn't have quite the allure of the proper releases because it doesn't have like all the artwork and the background animation and things like that. And although you can add a load of custom stuff, I just haven't done it yet. But you can do that as well, backgrounds, videos and stuff. But it's really cool, and you can play online, and it also, it has online leaderboards. So it's a really impressive project. It's been going for quite a long time, I think at least 10 years. And it's very, very slick and very polished. And if you're into that sort of stuff and you've still got peripherals knocking around, but you don't have the wherewithal or whatever to, use the old consoles, look it up and have a go because it's really cool.
Interesting. So, I mean, two of my favourite audio games of all time are Audio Surf and Vib Ribbon.
Yeah.
Purely because they allowed you to use your own songs completely, which is, Vib Ribbon, obviously you needed CDs and stuff like that. Someone should remake Vib Ribbon, by the way, just as an aside. But Audio Surf allowed me to play sort of like my own stuff as well, because you're not going to get any official games or anything like that has Jenny Lewis's rabbit fur coat built into it.
True.
But so is this only preset tracks that the community made, or can you import your own music and it does like an automated thing?
No, it doesn't automate. I think it would be too difficult. I think that would be too difficult. But that is a shame, because if it could somehow, if you could get an AI algorithm to sort it out for you, then in an afternoon you could have your entire collection done for you. But we're not there yet.
But community-based, I dare say, if you really, really, really wanted to play a certain track, you could probably ask the community and offer some donations for that, I would imagine.
Yeah, I'm sure it's doable. Yeah, worth looking into. And it's also worth looking into me creating my own, you know, doing one, see if it's fun, if it's not too onerous, because I don't mind spending a couple of hours, building out a track, a single 3-minute track. But I think any longer than that would probably stretch things a little bit too far. I haven't got quite that level of commitment.
But, if it becomes a job, then you've got to step back. But if you can do an hour or so's tinkering, that's fun. That's a hobby.
That's the one. Absolutely.
What is the threshold? We say 2 hours is the threshold from hobby to job.
Oh, do they? Yeah. Oh, makes sense. Yeah.
I don't know. That for me, that's what it is. If I'm spending more than 2 hours on one thing every single day, to me, that's then becoming a job. It's why I stopped playing Animal Crossing.
Yeah.
But no, I like to say that. I might check that. One out. What was it called? Clone Hero.
So it's called Clone Hero. Yeah. So you'll need. I think it does support some peripherals that use wireless, but I think the easiest ones are definitely the wired ones. I've got an old Guitar Hero. I think it's Guitar Hero Explorer, which is a wired USB one, and that's just plug straight in and off you go. So. Yeah, but I think it definitely.
Obviously, the old PS2 ones won't work, will they? Because they use the actual PS2 connectors, didn't they?
That's right. Yeah, it's got to be USB, obviously. Although I don't know, you might be able to use converters, but who knows? That's adding an extra layer.
I would imagine there are converters from. Yeah, I'm sure there are converters from PlayStation 2 to USB.
There are. It might work. You never know.
So, I'm going to check that out, I think. I've got my mum's going to a boot sale this weekend, so I might see if she can find a really cheap Guitar Hero guitar, and I might have a look at that, and then proclaim next time how rubbish I am at rhythm games.
I'm not the best, but I just enjoy them regardless.
Yeah. Talking of being rubbish at games, I've been playing something that I'm quite rubbish at, but I think I like. I've been playing a game called Merrick's Market. Now, contrary to popular belief, it's not some kind of new David Dickinson hosted ITV 4 at 2 o'clock job or anything like that. It's a game that is it's partly inspired by the likes of Overcooked, but not to the point where it's a clone of Overcooked. But it's also about... I'm trying to put this resource management and shop management and things like that, whilst being an action game. It's arcadey, it's very comical in nature. It's got both this single player campaign that's story led, or this 4-player co-op that's completely arcade orientated. But anyway, so the premise of Merrick's Market is instead of being the sorry, Stu, give me 2 seconds. Sorry.
Yes, right.
Sorry about that. It is 2021, so your podcast can be interrupted by booking a COVID test for an operation. So, day before my birthday, fact fans, I've got to do that. So, that's nice. Nice from the NHS to give me a nice little birthday present. But where was I? I was talking about Merrick's Market, which... I gave you a basis of what sort of game it is, but it's really interesting. So I've only really played the single player aspect of it for a short while at the moment, so this isn't in depth or anything. But basically, you take the role of Merrick, who runs his own market set in like a fantasy RPG style land. So it does the whole flipping of roles. So rather than being the adventurer, you run the market where the adventurers go to get their weapons and stuff like that. So you it gets this whole idea of, what does it do? Are they there just for the one adventure? They get lots of adventurers through and things like that. And it doesn't take itself seriously one little bit, which I like for a start. But you have to kind of like get the resources. You then have to use it to do your crafting, and then you've got to sell. You've got to try and turn a profit for the shop. But it's not like slow or anything like that. It's very arcadey in nature, very much like your Overcooked and Shakes on a Plane and stuff like that. So a lot of running around, a lot of zany action going on. And then sort of like with the co-op stuff, there's no story. It's just there's a group of you working together. You try and work out who's good at what things. Can someone go and do the gathering and supply the stuff? The other person does the crafting. Maybe another one does the selling and the bartering and things like that. It's got a nice cartoony look. And overall, I mean, I've spent a couple of hours with it, and it needs work. Not gonna lie, it does need work. It's not perfect. It's not something I would seek out to go and find or seek out to play. As far as I'm aware, I believe this is a two person team have made this. So a couple of little foibles there are within the game, like the UI elements aren't the best at times, and it does take a little while to get used to what's where. And there's some, I would say, major bugs, but there's a couple of little things, quirks in there that can put you off for a second or two. That would need smoothing out. But I said it's a two-person team, so little bit of leeway for them. But having a good time with it when I've played it, and it's just one of those games I think I'd say is sort of like it's fun but average. You're not going to seek it out, but you might scroll past it on your list one day and go, go on then. That sort of game.
All right. Yeah, I mean, you're very generous to these things. That sounds okay, but I think
Yeah, that's it. It's okay. It's without going on. It's okay. It is. That's what it is. It's okay.
yeah. It's so hard, isn't it? Because we're at the stage now where, and we've said this loads of times, that saying that we're cash rich, time poor makes it sound that we're really rich when we're not. But it's that thing of games are so cheap and so available that it's the only really your time that is the big limiting factor. And it's like there are so many good games out there, and there are games that are being chucked at you literally for free that you may not have played. And it's like, okay, so I could sit down and play a game I've got that completely for free, that is supposed to be amazing, that came out 4 or 5 years ago, or I can play this fairly average new game that probably take up a lot of time. Which one am I going to do? And it has to be that right combination of, you've got to really be into that style of genre. You've got to really like the implementation of this style. You've got to have the time. You've got to, really want to support the developers. There's like loads of factors that you kind of have to have in, and like you say, it's probably best if you've got it in your library, if you kind of just go, one Sunday afternoon, yeah, go on, I'll have a play with that. Otherwise, yeah. But it's so hard because you don't want to say anything like bad, because I'm sure that the two
it's
guys...
a good game. It's not a bad game.
Yeah.
So it's not a bad game. It's a good game, but so I'm going to use a food analogy here. It's the chicken nuggets, like your frozen chicken nuggets and super noodles Tuesday night dinner game. You look at it, you go, you're not specifically going to go and buy super noodles and off-brand chicken nuggets for dinner, but if it's in the freezer and the cupboard and you just don't fancy cooking, you don't fancy preparing a decent meal, you look in there and go, that'll do. That's what Merrick's Market is. And I want, if the developers or anyone do listen to this, I want you to take that as a compliment. That is not a negative stance I'm taking. That is a compliment, because you do sometimes need those games, and there is a space for those games. But it's not one that it's not a Hades or anything like that. It's not gonna, set the world alight with people going, "Oh my god, have you played this game?" But I enjoyed it. It's not great. It's not bad. It's average, but average is okay.
It absolutely is. And it kind of brings up that question of, what makes a game great or really good and what makes it average. And, sometimes it's just how the mechanics fit together. It's all sorts of things, inspiration. For me, on a personal level, it's very often just time. It's, if you remember me talking about Mario Sunshine, that kind of... The thing that I balked at the most, even more than the camera, which is as shonky as heck, was the traversal. Like, just walking. Like, I don't play a game to just walk, apart from when I played Death Stranding, but that's a whole other debate. But, it's that moment-to-moment thing of, am I doing enough in those moments? And I can be doing something in a game that's really average, like, not even that great. Not even that thrilling or compelling or new, but as long as it's keeping me active, it's keeping me grabbed, then I'm happy with that. But you know, I mean, that is me. That is not to say that's how you make a good game, not by any stretch of the imagination. But you know, it does vary. It varies from person to person as well.
Yeah. So to give this an idea of where this sits, people know I have sight issues, so my time for gaming is kind of usually squeezed in, and I try and grab what I can at the moment due to my vision issues. So I have in my Steam library a group for games that is called MHG coverage, which is games I'll be talking about on the podcast or writing about at some point.
Yeah.
Usually when I've spoke about them, I'll take them out and push them to wherever they go on my other groups. This one is one of those that I've decided to leave in there because I do want to come back to it if my vision improves or when it improves, and I can play this with the kids as well. So I'm not done with this either. So again, that's where it's at. I've played others where I've gone, yeah, it's all right, and then still just pushed it to the side, and I probably won't touch them again for ever. This is one I've kept in there because I want to be reminded to give it another go and give it another shot. So yeah.
That is a good idea, keeping the separate thing for stuff that you want to replay later down the line. I haven't done it that specifically because I'm not that organised, but I've got a couple in mind.
It's about the only thing I am with.
Yeah, I've got a couple in mind. I'm going way back, quite a long time now, on the podcast Eastern Exorcist, which I played, which was in early access, and I played that all the way through of all the content that was available. But I'm waiting now for when it's sort of finished in inverted commas, and I will definitely play it again with like all the fixes, all the improvements, and all the new stages. I'll definitely go through the lot.
So just to clarify again, this isn't like I'm not trying to again with this blow smoke up the asses of developers or indie developers or average games. And again, so this is where I say this is why we don't do review scores on the site in any way, shape or form, because I think they're skewed in such a way that an average game is made to look bad.
Yeah.
When you review it. But without average games, you don't get your Hades, your Witcher 3s, your Super Mario Odysseys, your games like that. You also don't get your Sonic 4s. The other end of the scale. You don't get the really bad games without those average games, because you get those and they are the markers of actually this is what it needs to do to elevate above. This is what it at least needs to meet, or it's considered a bad game. So for me, those average games like this are vital to, I think, other games and where they stand on those rating scales for anyone who does rate them, but also for, wow, this game is special because it's done this so much better than this other game I sort of enjoyed. Or, oh my God, this game is really bad. You know, it can't even do what this one was doing. And this was flawed. So, you know, they are vital. I think it's the same with movies. You don't get a Citizen Kane without watching Mean Girls. You know, and by the same time, if you don't have Mean Girls, you don't have the hottie or the nottie with Paris Hilton. So you need those middle grounds for those extremes.
Yes. Yeah.
That's the only time in a podcast this year you will hear the words "the hottie or the naughty" starring Paris Hilton.
Yeah, it's not something that comes up in casual conversation very often. But yeah, no, your point is exactly right, and I think there is a kind of it would be going too far to say that review scores are a bane of the kind of of the gaming world. But yeah, that thing of everything being a 7 out of 10, that in itself is really dodgy. Because it just means very, very little. And, the mean, or, whatever part of the average it is, the median or the mode or whatever. But that thing of everything being a 7 just communicates no information to you whatsoever. And it prevents people from reading the proper text and drawing their own conclusions. So, yeah, I agree.
So that's probably a lot of discussion on the importance of Merrick's Market to the world of video games and video game scoring. I bet they weren't expecting that.
Probably not, but it was very, very justified.
It was. What else have you been playing, Stu? Something average or something that's up there?
Something completely bananas. And it, I like to do these.
Monkey Ball?
No, although that's a good shout.
No.
I was never a big fan of Monkey Ball because, again, puzzle game and I'm too crap at them. Like, I watched my friends play it and they were so good. And even they were like, oh, I've got up to like level 27 and I can't get past it. And I'm like scratching my head going, yeah, I couldn't get past like level 3 or something like that. So, yeah, balance No. Balance, no. Puzzle, no. I'm just rubbish. But
And mixing the both, no.
yeah, definitely. But what I'm reasonable at is light gun games, and I was playing one of those, and a really really strange one. So until 2 days ago, when I played this, I'd never played a game in this series, and it's the PlayStation Gun Survivor series, where you not only have a light gun that you fire with, obviously, but you control your character's movement with a D-pad as well. And it's just nuts. And I was playing Gun Survivor 3 Dino Crisis. Now, they were all based around Resident Evil, apart from that. Yeah.
Yes.
And oh my goodness me, is it weird. So you start off as a pilot in the Second World War, flying through the skies, and you're suddenly attacked by pterodons, by pterodactyls, and you're like shooting them down, and then you crash, obviously, and you're in a world where there's loads of dinosaurs. But it's got the strangest control scheme. So you when you're in the air, when I was in the air and it was like slightly on rails, not too bad. Still difficult. We'll get to that. On the ground, just bananas. So basically, what you do is you have your kind of on rails in that you in the sky. You're on rails, but you need to move you pivot on your axis, so you need to kind of like go, okay, those have just flown past me, but they're going to attack from behind. So you push right on the pad, and that brings the screen round to where they are, and then you can shoot them. And you know that's fine, and that makes sense. Although it's still difficult because it's not analog, and it's very difficult with the D-pad. On the ground, you have full movement. It has Doom style controls. So forward moves you forward, left and right pivot you, and so you have to like pivot and then move forward. And strafe is on the A and B buttons, which are on the side of the gun con too. So you kind of like you could have just done away with the turning thing with the D-pad and just made it strafe, and it would have been so much better. I'll have to have a look through the options just to see if you can do it that way.
Yeah.
And there's you do that and you kind of move along, and if you get there, if you get to a spot and see the dinosaurs in the distance and you don't get spotted, you can activate a sniper mode where you press both A and B in together, and it brings up a reticle, and then you move the reticle around with the D-pad for some reason. I don't know why you couldn't move the gun, and then snipe them from a distance. So it's got loads of good ideas in, but absolutely none of them work. They just, it's like, it looks brilliant. It's a really good looking game for a game that's nearly 20 years old. It's got great ideas. The artwork's cracking. It links in with the Dino Crisis universe. It's got great aim because the Gun Con 2 is a fantastic light gun. You know, it's probably the best commercial one ever produced. And yet, all the controls are absolutely terrible, and it just doesn't work properly. But it's worth playing just to see how somebody can try and make a game, like playing Soul Calibur with the Dreamcast fishing rod. It's like seeing how people try and cram a control scheme into a game that just doesn't work and never could.
Yeah. It's really weird. I've played Resident Evil Survivor, which was their first light gun, I want to say light gun game, but I know it wasn't designed to be played with a light gun properly or something like that. I know in the States, they couldn't actually use the light gun for the games. It had to be all on the controller. But it's like Resident Evil especially, it kind of made it an arcade game, and it was a really weird spin-off. It would have been probably like average, we go to that again, if it wasn't a Resident Evil game. But I remember playing it as a Resident Evil game, and it was terrible. And I looked at Dino Crisis, Gun Survivor 3 Dino Crisis, and going, this is going to be bad. And I love Dino Crisis, but I don't want to try it because I'll wait till the next good Dino Crisis comes out, and I'm just looking at my watch, still waiting.
It's been a while, yeah. It's just totally bananas, isn't it? I've not played any of the others, as I say, but this one. The thing is with this one, it would actually be perfect in VR, because all of those controls
Yeah.
and that setup is all, perfectly set up for it.
Yeah.
In a way that it wouldn't with the kind of, the static on rails style of Time Crisis and Virtual Cop and those you don't need those because you've got stuff like Robo Recall, which is absolutely brilliant. But yeah, no, it would. This game particularly should be ported cheaply and easily just over to VR because it would be good fun. But yeah, on the GunCon, it's just it's a freaking nightmare.
GunCon should be for Time Crisis, Point Blank, and games like that only.
Yeah, pretty much. The D-pad just should be used for navigating menus, and that's it.
Yeah. Someone still needs to make a light gun game for the modern ages using you making an actual light gun. It's got to be possible. So, gyroscopes and everything. It's got to be done. Someone do it. Come on. It's been a while since we've had plastic tack games. We need a good plastic tack game with a light gun.
Yeah, well, there was that Sinden light gun project that you can get, but that's PC only, and it basically uses cameras, and using some version of that, and that means as well that it's got a camera in it, and it means that you don't have to have like a bar like you did with the Wii, with the Wii. You don't have to have a camera like you had to do with the PlayStation 2 and 3, and probably 4. So yeah, something like that was cheap enough would be great, and then you could just have a few games like that.
I'm not talking indies for this one. Indies, you haven't got to worry. This is what I'm talking. I'm talking directly to Namco here, right? Bandai Namco, Bandai Namco.
Yeah,
yes,
Bandai
Namco.
Bigger
they are
bigger
now,
company.
aren't they? Yeah. Right. I'm talking to you directly. You've got the IP. You've got the history. You go out. You make this happen. You make a new GunCon game. Okay, you make a Point Blank collection. Get together with Sega. Virtua Cop can be thrown in there as well. House of the Dead. Throw them all in there. Nice collaboration. But with the gun, because it was the best gun. The GunCon was the best gun. We all know that. Get that made. Get that out there. Make your billions. I'll buy it. I will buy one. Okay? Still buy one. That's two. It's two sales you've got right there. Makes perfect business sense. Get on it, Namco.
Yeah, I agree. Should totally be doing that.
I want to say, if they making you Dino Crisis, and because of you, because we have influence, it turns out to be a VR only game, I will come after you with hell vengeance, just to let you know. And the only reason I say that is because I wanted to segue, because talking of hell, I've been playing another game, Hell Architect. I mean, I'm going places to try and segue now. I have no idea. Oh no, I just right off the top of my head with them. Hell Architect is a base building colony sim. It reminds me a bit of like Fallout Shelter. Is it Fallout Shelter, the free to play game they made? And Sheltered, the more in-depth base building colony type game, where basically the idea is you're building into an area up and down and stuff like that to create rooms, and in these games you're usually doing it to give people like living quarters and the best chance of survival. The twist on this one is, and it's one I should be good. This is the Brad's going to be mean podcast, and Brad doesn't like being mean.
He does not, although he likes to refer to himself in the third person.
Brad doesn't like being mean. There. I say like even I do. But anyway, Brad doesn't like being mean. So, but with this, the concept should be wonderful. It should be brilliant to play. So the idea is you're running hell. I don't think you're Lucifer in the game, but you're running hell. You're a demon or one of the top demons or whatever. And you get these little people fall down and you use them to build hell. Why hell's not already built, I don't know. Really no idea. I look at it more of a good place scenario where they're trying out new things, and that's what you've got to do. Anyway, so you're Ted Danson, and what you're trying to do is building. Yes, you are building hell for people, and you have to build it up. You get given nothing to start with. You get the first few come down. You get them to build your spaces. And then you have to collect dirt, which is one of the main currencies you use. Dirt kind of helps you build everything. So you collect your dirt by digging, and then you use the dirt to help build contraptions, torture devices, and those torture devices then create suffering, which is another currency within the game, and suffering is then used to build more stuff and so on and so forth to sort of enhance things. So there's no food or water within the game. You have to create food and water. So what you do, for example, to get water, you build a latrine, and then once you've built the latrine for the dead people who have gone to hell to use for the toilet, you then build another contraption which can then extract liquid and solids from the excrement, and you use that to provide dirty water and basic food, but you can purify it with further upgrades and stuff like that. It's really interesting. The art style's really good. It's kind of got a Cyanide and Happiness almost feel to it without being Cyanide and Happiness. And it's interesting. The problem I've got with it, I only played an hour and a half of it initially, and I got everything from the game that it offered. I went and played a game. So sometimes with these sort of games, I play it and go, oh, I've screwed up somewhere here and I need to go back and I'll start again knowing what I now know. I kind of create my own little roguelike with these games sometimes, like the first few times round. Played it again and nothing different. Absolutely nothing different. So when I play cities, for example, City Skylines, I always start the same. So it's always like the road in, the road out, and I have an area for my industry and an area for shopping and residential, and then it goes free flow. It's always different once you get past that initial tiny build. With this, though, I felt it was going in exactly the same direction. I still needed to do the same things to get to the same things and build the same things, maybe changing areas a little bit, but it didn't offer enough variation or divergence for me to want to go in again and again and again. And again, this is like almost, it's not a bad game. It's got good ideas, but I feel that they've played it really safe in trying to make it accessible and maybe easy to play. For me, what they've done is they've created something that I don't care about returning to.
Yeah.
And for me, that is almost a bigger crime than other games, such as Merrick's Market, where they're flawed. There's many flaws, but I want to go back to. This probably has less flaws, but I don't care for it. I don't want to go back. And I feel really bad for saying that. I really, really do. And I wanted to find something. And aside from maybe the art style and the initial ideas of it, it just doesn't execute them. Doesn't execute them at all.
Ah, what a shame. Despite
all the execution within the game.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, so there was...
That sounded so sincere then.
What was that one? What was that one where you build the dungeon? You're the one who builds the dungeons, right?
You're on about Dungeon Keeper?
Yeah, that's the one. Never played it, but...
The original Dungeon Keeper, not the mobile... only,
I don't know. Anyway,
Comfest that EA tried to make. Yeah, the original Dungeon Keeper was really good. And you've got Overlord, which was a Sega game. Or Codemasters or Sega, I can't remember. But Overlord, that was a really decent attempt. This isn't like that. It's trying to be more, I'd say, sheltered or Fallout Shelter type in its aesthetic and the way it plays. But honestly, it lacks something. And it's just... It's not even boring. It's just, ugh.
Oh, dear.
I just don't want to go back to it. And that's probably the most damning thing about it. I don't want to go back to it.
Yeah.
Because I think I've seen it all. They could patch it and fix any little bugs and that. I'll never really talk about little bugs unless they really affect the experience. And there are little bugs and stuff like that, but I will always forgive those. Major bugs, obviously, you need to talk about more. And patches will probably go out to fix those and might improve the experience slightly in places, but not to the point where I want to play it again.
Yeah.
And I just feel awful. Brad hates being mean.
You do, but it is necessary because you've got to be honest. So, yeah, no,
yep.
Fair enough.
So, any more from you?
Yeah, I have got one more, actually. I've been playing Horatio Goes Snowboarding, which is basically Horace Goes Skiing, but obviously
It is.
frightened of the huge wrath of the original developers coming down on them using the same. No, of course not. I don't even know who was it made by. It was probably Matthew Smith, wasn't it? They're all
What's that, Horace or this one?
Horace.
I don't know who made it, but this is, for me, yeah, all I know, before you speak, this is like Horace getting the DX treatment of Pac-Man. It's good.
Right, so have you played it?
I've touched on it a little while back. I got a very early key for this, and I have played it.
Right. God, I forgot that completely. But yeah, no, I've had a go with it. It's all right. It's exactly what you'd expect, really. It's analog control only, no buttons used, and you start off by doing a little Frogger-esque thing of running across roads and grabbing a snowboard, and then you're airlifted to the slopes, and then you ski down them, and you go through gates, and yeah, it's fine, it's fun, it's all right, it's very silly, it's daft. It doesn't have much depth to it. It's like constantly scrolling, so that if you slow down too much, you fail, which is important because you can pretty much get through every gate, even if you're not set up properly for it, by going sideways on your snowboard and stuff. But that'll obviously put you towards the back, and then you can lose. So yeah, it's all right. It looks really good. I like how it looks. It's very fun, silly.
Yeah.
As I said, silly seems to be the word to describe it, and very lightweight. It's only less than £5, and it will probably be on sale for even less than that soon. But yeah, it's worth going on. Yeah, worth going for.
This is one of our cup of coffee games. This one.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's wonderful. You pay the price of a cup of coffee, and at the time you'll get a good 10-15 minutes from it. Move on to something else, and then another time you fancy another cuppa, you boot it up again, have another 10-15 minutes at another time. It's what it's there for. It's the cup of coffee game. We need to do a list, actually, cup of coffee games.
Yes. Yeah. I won't have many of them, but I'm guessing you'll probably have several hundred.
There are. I have a few, but you'll be surprised when if you look through your library, you probably find a lot and go, oh yeah, that's it.
That's true. Yeah,
there's one. Yeah. Oh yeah. But do you know who made this?
I do, but I can't.
Without looking.
Was it Mike Dorr?
It was Mike Dorr. It's Infinite State Games. Yeah. People who done the amazing Don't Die, Mr. Robot, and the equally fantastic Rogue Aces.
I thought so, because he was one of the reasons I picked it up was because I follow him on Twitter, and he said, this has only got one review on Steam, and I was like, what? That's crazy. So I bought it so that I could play it and review it for him.
See, I feel bad because I hadn't spoke about this yet, and I've had the key for quite a while. It's one of those, I kept playing it and going, I'll mention this at some point. Then I had started getting because I've had this key for God knows how long, but I started having my sight issues, and it's one of those games that I kept forgetting about talking about due to my health issues. So I'm glad you've mentioned it, because it's right up there. It's not. Don't Die, Mr. Robot is the pinnacle. It is one of the best pure arcade experiences ever released, and I will fight anyone to the death on that one. But Rogue Aces is brilliant. Family Tree is really good. But this slots right in there. Mike Dorr just seems to be nailing what arcade is. So those who say arcade is dead, just play Mike Dorr games.
Yeah, why not? Eh?
Yeah, no, I might jump back into that at some point. See, right, Mike, right, because you will listen to this, Mike. I'm going to talk to you directly now. Do me a dark mode, bud. I could do with a dark mode on these games as well. It would really help me out, and I'd be able to play them more. Just saying. But yeah, if you could, that'd be great.
Yeah, that'd be fair.
But yeah, no, really good game. Good choice, Joe. I'm glad you found that one. And I'm glad you mentioned it, because I feel really bad that I hadn't. And I'd only remembered it as soon as you mentioned it.
Yeah, so it was out this week. So yeah, I would highly encourage our listenership to buy it as a coffee game, yeah?
Definitely. Yep, 100%. So I've been playing one more, and you mentioned Death Stranding earlier, but what if Death Stranding, but good?
Excuse me, what did you just say?
I said, what if Death Stranding, but actually good?
Yeah, I thought that's what you said. Well, I'm leaving now. I'm getting on the train and come down and kick your ass.
And there's all these things. all these things I've said before, you can let slide, but not that.
I'm sorry, but no.
How
I'm
dare
not
you
having that.
insult Hideo Kojima?
That will not fly in this podcast, my friend. Go on.
No.
Go on. What is it then?
No. Again, Death Stranding I think's okay. I've not played it fully, but I thought it was okay. But I decided I needed some discourse to introduce the game I've been playing, which is called Lake. And
Oh, yeah.
boy,
Yeah,
that's a game.
yeah.
That's a very, very good game. Not perfect, and I'm glad I didn't watch too much about it before playing. I kind of saw an initial trailer, went, yep, and ignored it since then because I've heard it being hyped up in places quite a bit, and I was like, no, not falling into that trap. So essentially, it's a game set in the late 80s, I think 1986. And you play this lady who has a job in the city, well, quite an important job, but it's stressing her out, giving her some issues. So she decides to go back home for a bit in like this quaint American small town near a lake, hence the title. It's like a Providence type area, that kind of thing. And she goes back there for a slower life for a bit, for a break, and to help her dad's business out by delivering packages around the town. Essentially, that's the game. You casually deliver packages around the town, occasionally speaking to other people. There are some places where you might just have a couple of little chats. There's other places you go, like a bar, for example, and there's lots of people there and you can have more in-depth chats and things like that. You might build relationships. You find out more about yourself, about the other people there, and you kind of question to yourself, do I need to go back to the big city life, or can I stay where I am? And that's kind of really sort of like really done in a clever way, because while you're doing this, you'll get calls or messages now and again that from your boss needing help with a project and going, I need help with this. I need, I need your input in this. And it kind of stresses you out that little bit. And you're like, oh no, I don't want to do that. I'm trying to deliver these packages. And it's just a really casual, relaxing game. And what I really like, and this is where the care's been taken from the developers, is the conversations you have. Do you know, like sometimes you play sort of these games and the conversations go on for too long?
Yeah.
It's like, I get where this is going. But this kind of has an option to it where you can have the same conversation but shorten it. I can't really explain it, but you can go really in depth with a conversation or shorten it. And it feels really natural. So it's not like you're not just skipping through going, yeah, I know where this is all going and skipping through. You kind of just get shortened versions of what they're chatting about. And it works really, really organically well. And those interactions are really good. There are a couple of problems with the game. Again, I feel really mean. This is me being mean again. Brad can't be mean. Brad, don't be mean. But if I was going to call out one issue with this game is, even though it's a small town, it somehow still feels quite deserted and sparse at points.
Yeah.
So it's like on the road and that, there's not much traffic. And I get it's a small town, there's not meant to be much, but it doesn't seem quite enough. And it seems like the outside seems quite dead, which is a slight shame. And you go to a lot of deliveries and so-and-so's not home, and I'll leave the parcel here, like you're a yodel driver. So instead of leaving it there, you go and take it to, the back end of like the Outer Hebrides instead of down in Essex because you're a yodel driver. Personal gripe. But that aside, I mean, that's me being fairly nitpicky with it because it doesn't ruin the game at all. There's no ruined experience. And the few hours I've spent with it, yeah, just so relaxing. Looks nice. It doesn't look spectacular, but it doesn't need to. It's kind of almost got this almost like pastel type aesthetic to the colours. And it just feels nice, relaxing. And it's one of those games that, again, it's probably not quite a game. It's more just a story, in an interactive story. And I just really enjoyed Lake. It's definitely worth a purchase, if you ask me. It's not one of those I would go, do you know what, wait for Game Pass or wait for it to be in a humble bundle. It's definitely worth going out to pick up now.
Sounds cool. Yeah, I actually have this on my radar, but I haven't picked it up yet. I'd probably wait till it's a bit cheaper. But yeah, no, it looks quite good.
I'm gonna have a quick look now, professionally, and see Yeah, we're professional.
Don't worry, it'll all be getting cut.
No, it won't, because I'm gonna keep singing, and you can make me look like an idiot. 15.99. There we go. 15.99.
Right.
Worth it. Totally worth it.
Cool. Yeah.
That's all I will say. Yeah, well worth 15.99. You will spend 60, 70 quid on bigger games that aren't worth that. So if value is your thing, definitely is. 20 quid I would have been a good price for this still for what it offers. 16 quid. Yeah, that's nice.
Cool.
But if you do need to wait for a sale, I wouldn't wait for it to go overly cheap, because it'll be nice to reward these developers, because yeah, good game.
Good stuff. Excellent.
That's it games wise from me.
Yeah.
So, I've been playing games for a number of years, and usually around my birthday, I just use it as an excuse to buy myself a game I was maybe erring on whether I could afford it or not. I go, I'll do that. I don't really celebrate my birthday, but next week, it's just over a week past the point of this recording, it's going to be my 40th birthday. And I'm going to actually celebrate this one. Be the first time I've celebrated a birthday in absolutely years. Because from about the age of, I would say, 16, I never thought I'd make it to 40. That was my depression, and then I got hit with the diabetes and got a bit ill. I thought, I don't reckon I'll make it much past 30. I'm either going to end up topping myself, or I'm just going to get so ill because I don't care that I'll just die. And miraculously, I've made it. Well, I've got another few days to go, but just so if there is no podcast after this one, it's because I didn't quite make it. But as far as I'm concerned, I think I've made it to 40. And yeah, what do people do to celebrate birthdays? I don't know. I don't do it. I don't care. But I'm kind of, I want to celebrate this one a bit. Spend some time with the family. We'll go out for something to eat. And yeah, really looking forward to it. The only shame about this birthday is I've got to wait an extra month nearly for Tetris Effect on the Switch. I'm not happy with Enhanced. They could have released it a month earlier, couldn't they?
Yeah. Oh, so selfish of them.
Yeah, but at the doctors, at the consultants earlier this week, they was going to it and they was going, "Oh, we're gonna have to do this other operation." And I was just like, my main concern, do you know, like you get sports people when they break a leg and they go, "Oh, will I be able to play again?" I was like, look, that's a weird question, but do you reckon I'll be able to see well enough to play Tetris on October the 8th? And he kind of just looked at me and went, "What?" I don't know what you're talking about. And I went, there's a game coming out and I really want to play it. And he kind of went, I should recommend that you probably shouldn't be looking at screens too much at the moment. I was like, but I really want to play it. But yeah, I've got an operation on the 20th. I've got either COVID swab on the 17th. My birthday's on the 18th, and I'm meant to be self-isolating for it. That's fun. But I do still want to celebrate in some fashion. So I might rest my eyes as much as I can on the days beforehand, so that I'm able to play a few games on the 18th and celebrate that way.
Completely burn your eyesight out on your birthday itself.
Well, I'll go out in a blaze of glory.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm gonna reach 40, and that just feels weird to me.
It's a big milestone. Yeah, completely. Yeah, especially if you didn't think you were going to make it.
Yeah. No, I was convinced I'd be dead way before then, and then I had kids, and they went, "Oh, I better stay alive for the kids."
Oh, what a pain in the ass! Bloody kids.
I know, but no, I mean, my perspective on life has completely changed. You know, it's not in an epiphany of, oh my God, like life is so precious and so wonderful, and I've really got. I've not gone there, but I just don't. You know, I'd rather live than die at the moment, which is a bit of a turnaround, I suppose.
Yeah.
And people say, how can you joke about that? It was either that or the alternative is I just go completely the other way.
Exactly. You have to
treat suicide with the contempt it deserves.
Well said. Definitely. Ah, no, I'm glad that it's coming up and that you're looking forward to it. That's really cool.
Yes, so if anyone's listening, my birthday's on the 18th, and you can support us on Ko-Fi.
Yeah.
Am I allowed to do that?
I think there might be
It's my podcast.
Yeah, no, I think that would probably put a lot of people off. But no, yeah, why not, you know? support us on coffee. I'll make sure that all the money actually goes to him. All the thousands that we're no doubt going to get. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to buy a cake. Let's go with that. I need to buy. See, I need to buy a diabetic cake, and do you know, to buy diabetic food's actually more expensive than getting the actual sugar-based foods.
Oh yeah,
because that's how you help people get better, by charging them more for the stuff that helps them.
Ridiculous.
Something capitalism bad, to quote James Stephanie Sterling.
Quite. Yeah, you're not wrong.
Mm-hmm. So I'm now, hopefully not for the last time, going to shut up, and I'm going to let Stu take us out.
Cool, yeah. So it's not my birthday soon, unfortunately, not till December, but I am looking forward to it. So, start getting that money into us now so that I've got plenty to spend at the time. Other than that...
If you was planning on donating to Brad, save a bit.
Yeah. It's important that, your two favourite podcasters get lots of money for themselves. And, yeah.
But Stu's not blind, don't forget.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But, yeah, so other than that, have a great week. Stay safe and stay sane.